Welcome to sportsbookraeview.com. I'm Flash, and it's all about the Preakness. It's the third leg of the Triple Crown. Authentic is the favourite, and he's going to be trying to win 2 legs. Tis the Law won one of the legs, but he's not turning up. So now myself and Brian Zipse, he's going to be our expert who's going to try and dig deep to try and find the value away from Authentic. Personally, I think Authentic is a good thing, but I thought Tis the Law was a good thing until the horse that I've shouted about all year come along at 8-1 and beat me. But before I go over to see Brian, if you like this video, then please subscribe, press the button and ring the bell. You ring the bell means that we'll notify you. You haven't got to do anything. We'll let you know when any videos come on, and they are plenty videos from MLB, NBA, and obviously NFL, as well as all the European soccer leagues. You will never miss anything here. Brian, how are you? And let's not mention Authentic in the Kentucky Derby, please.
Flash, I want to talk about Authentic in the Kentucky Derby. I'm doing well, my friend. Hey, we got to talk about the Kentucky Derby a little bit. And maybe not talk about what we were on or weren't on in the Kentucky Derby, but Authentic was terrific in the Kentucky Derby. He's coming to the Preakness 4 weeks later as a triumphant Kentucky Derby winner. He looked good, and now he's the horse to beat here in the Preakness.
Yeah, and the big thing is that obviously we're going over a mile and 3/16, which is a 9.5 furlongs, which is 1/16 less than the Kentucky Derby, and it was Authentic who put his best foot forward in that final furlong. So is there something, we're obviously going to go and have a look at all the runners and riders, but is there something that could just get him tap for toe before that stamina kicks in?
You know, I don't think the distance is really a big deal. You know, a 1.25 miles in the Kentucky Derby, they were never going to get Authentic. Authentic beat Tis the Law early in the lane, and that was the race. No one was going to come get Authentic if the race was 1.5 miles. Now he gets 1 mile 3/16. You think maybe it's better for a horse with so much speed like Authentic has, Flash. But it really depends on the race setup. You get a fast, contested pace like he didn't get in the Kentucky Derby, and horses can make things a little bit tougher for Authentic. I think this is maybe a little bit easier spot. There's no Tis the Law. But on the other hand, there are some good quality speed horses in there. So 1 mile 3/16, he's just as susceptible to get caught if that pace is fast, whether it's 1 mile 3/16 or farther.
So what do you reckon they have to go through the first quarter in, like 23-2 or 23-1 to get him like really at it?
Well, what we saw in the Kentucky Derby is Johnny V was he pushed Authentic out of the gate from that far outside post, and he did run a pretty fast first quarter. So the first quarter for 1.25 miles was fast in the Kentucky Derby. But going into that first turn at Churchill Downs, what Johnny V was able to do was quickly relax, and no one else in the field went after him. So he had a lead, and he was able to relax after being pushed just a little bit in that first quarter. And then the second quarter, the third quarter, even the fourth quarter, Authentic had horse. He was rusting up a little bit as he cruised along on the lead. So what do we see now? I don't think it's so much matters on whether we're going to see 23, 46, 109 really fast fractions. It's going to be, are there horses like Art Collector, the Philly, Swiss Skydiver, maybe New York Traffic that want to go head and head with Authentic early. And then, you know, it doesn't matter if it's 45 and change or maybe even 47 flat. If they're going head and head with Authentic, that's when it starts to put pressure on the horse, and that's when the horse can get a little bit more tired when they hit that Pimlico stretch.
Do you think there's a fear factor in some of these horses that might try and take on Authentic and set it up for something else because they'll be burning themselves up? Because if they can stay up with Authentic, and by the way, I think Authentic's tactical speed and early speed in the race that gets him into that great rhythm, that other horses are not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to lay off and get a lead. Now, who do you think's got the best tactical speed outside of the favourite?
Well, it's the second favorite. It really is. Art Collector has shown a good turn of speed. Brian Hernandez has been on this horse, and this horse has just been rolling to victory after victory this year. He hasn't been on the lead in every start, but he's shown the ability to either be on the lead or to be right off the lead. So it really becomes a tactical race. Not only is the pressure on horses that are trying to beat Authentic, the Kentucky Derby winner, but I think the pressure is on the Kentucky Derby winner a little bit. Johnny V knows he doesn't want to battle for the lead, especially in a fast pace. So he's got to work. And like I said on the last show, Flash, I think the X marks the spot is right on the back of Authentic because he's the horse they have to beat. The other riders have to gauge, well, how hard do I work my horse early to bring the race to Authentic? I think you can't let the Derby winner just lope along in the lead. So I believe horses like Art Collector are going to push him early.
Okay, well, Freddie, can you stick up the graphics so we can have a little look at the connections? And obviously, you're drawn to Authentic because of John Velasquez and Bob Baffert. But if you look just 3 or 4 lines up, there's Bob Baffert and Florent Garou on 1,000 Words. Now, 1,000 Words was obviously going to be, it was well touted. It was the wise man's horse, as you rightly said, flipped over, non-runner, and Bob Baffert's second runner in a race like this. He's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I think so. And Florent Garou has been winning a lot of stakes races lately, and he's a pretty aggressive rider. He's a rider that likes to be out there early. I said 1,000 Words probably doesn't. He's not the one that's going to go right out Authentic. I don't think Bob Baffert, that's the last thing he wants to see in the Preakness, is another horse going with his Kentucky Derby winner head-and-head early. So I look for 1,000 Words to sit a little bit off the lead. Maybe he's 4th or 5th early. But he's another horse. You know, Baffert's won this race 7 times. He's won this race 5 times with Kentucky Derby winners coming back to win the Preakness. So Baffert has all the magic when it comes to this big race at Pimlico. And just in case, I do think, you know, the favorite's beatable. I think Authentic's beatable. Just in case he is beatable, Baffert has a pretty strong second string, and it could be the other Baffert here, Flash.
Okay, I'm going to leave the graphic up because obviously we've got the post positions there and Authentic is sitting on 9. There is other runners, but I wouldn't bet them with your money. So I've left them alone. No chance turning up for a day out. I would say a day out for all the owners. And but again, we're going to be, I think, we are going to be without crowd, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm glad you're not betting my money, by the way. I appreciate that. I try to bet my own money, no one else's. Hey, I do think there's a shot here. I've said it a few times. I think there's a shot for Authentic to get beat. I think they're going to push him early. So that brings into play horses like Mr. Big News out of the 2-hole. Ran a very good Kentucky Derby, was 3rd at long odds. Throw out one race in his background, which was the race before the Derby, and he looks pretty good. He looks like a developing horse for trainer Brett Calhoun. Gabe Saez gave him a really good ride last time. Faster pace this time, or a more contested pace, as I said. I think Mr. Big News could make some big news here in the Preakness. Max Player, maybe even Live Your Beast Life. I'm looking for horses to be rallying by, tired horses who maybe took the race to Authentic a little too hard early. Hey, what about Mr. Big News, Flash? I like him. You don't like him at all?
I just think that he would be better over an extended trip. I really do. I think that he'd done most of his work coming from too far off the pace, and he was staying on strongly. I think that this is going to be all about speed, and I like Authentic. And the big thing for me, and if the horse I was going to take out of the Derby would be probably New York Traffic, because it's a great price, around 40 plus 1,400 plus 1,600. And I think that he didn't have the best of trips, and I think he's still low mileage on the clock. So for me, it would probably be New York Traffic, but I can't get away from the Baffert pair.
Yeah. Well, what you did there with New York Traffic, Authentic, and 1,000 Words, throw them in, is you have 3 of probably the 5 horses that will be pretty forwardly placed in this race. So if you believe a little bit differently than I do, that it's going to be go to the lead and stay there, and those horses. And maybe they are the best horses. Maybe Authentic's the best. Maybe Art Collector's the second best. And maybe New York Traffic and 1,000 Words are right there, too. It could happen that way. I just feel like the race is really going to be run early in here. So I want to see. And the odds are in my favor here. You know, I got some horses with some odds. So I want to see horses picking them up in the stretch.
Yeah, see, I don't see that. I don't see them coming from behind. So, I mean, you're giving me a lot of confidence that you're so confident that they're coming from behind. I think that the on the speed is where you're going to need to be, because he ain't stopping. If he gets to the front and he dictates, Authentic, Johnny Velasquez, Bob Baffert, see you in the winner's enclosure. No problem at all. Now, 1,000 Words has got something to aim at, then he's going to be running home strong, and I wouldn't put anyone off of a 9 to beat 5. But Give me your winner. There's one horse who you think can definitely win the race. Is it number 2 at that massive 1200?
Well, it is at a massive 1200. It has to be Mr. Big News for me. If you asked me if there were no odds, who I would think is the most likely winner of this race, Flash, I would say Authentic off that Kentucky Derby run. But I've given you a lot of reasons why these horses might rally. And Mr. Big News, we're talking even money probably by the time they go to the post on Authentic, 12, 15 to 1, 1,200, 1,500 on Mr. Big News. So that makes me say yes, my top pick in here is Mr. Big News. I have a lot of bets lined up, and I'm going to be using Authentic and Mr. Big News on top. But who do you think I really want to win considering these odds?
Yeah, I know. I mean, you are getting, considering Mr. Big News is running the Derby, you are getting sort of nearly 6 times your money on top of Authentic. But why is Art Collector, for someone who's looking down and thinking, well, Art Collector didn't run, it's not really running the top grade races, and I mean, like, obviously the Triple Crown races. Why is he so, like, tight at plus 250, plus 300?
Yeah, I mean, he's looked good. He's looked absolutely like a horse of this caliber. He's had 4 races this year. The first 2 were allowance company, not stakes company, but he handled his job in those races with a lot of versatility. He did one on the lead, one for coming from off. They were fast races that he won there at Churchill Downs. Then he moved into graded stakes company, and the Bluegrass was a good field. Swiss Skydiver was second in that race. Rushy, who was third in that race, came back and won the Pate Mile on on the Kentucky Derby card. Mr. Big News was one of the horses behind him in that Bluegrass. So it's not like Art Collector is coming from the weeds here. He has faced some good horses before. He's just never been in a Triple Crown race. He's never faced the likes of Authentic. But everything he's done makes me and most people believe that Art Collector is a grade 1 horse. Now he gets to take the race right to Authentic with that speed that he has. It's setting up as a very interesting race, and I don't think Art Collector should be discounted. I do like Authentic a little better. He's proven. Art Collector's not so proven, but we know enough about Art Collector to know he won't be a daisy in here. He will be a horse that will give Authentic a race. Just a matter of the last 1/8 of a mile, I think, whether he can stick with Authentic or maybe some of those horses that I've been talking about to come from off the pace.
Yeah, so we're looking for the exacta. You're going to be going for like 9 and 2, 2 and 9. I'm more 9 and 5. I don't see Authentic getting beat, so I'm not going to be going with mixing them up. I've gone with 9 to win, and then I might go with maybe 5 and 7, maybe 5 and 2. Now, if I ask you to put 3 horses in, who are your 3?
That's tough. What I'm going to do. What I'm going to do with my exactas and my trifectas is I'm going to use the top 2 on top that I like, which is the 2 and the 9, Mr. Big News and Authentic. And I'm going to use a few other horses. I'm going to use them for second as well. So if it's the 2 run 1, 2 that I'm right about, I'll get that, and hopefully I'll get the trifecta as well. But I want to use horses like your horse, 1,000 Words. I'm going to throw in Art Collector. I mean, he just might be the second best horse in the race. And if you're right, Flash, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but if you're right, and it is just a speed merry-go-round where the speed stays there 1, 2, hey, you got Authentic on top of Art Collector. So I will use Art Collector. I'm also going to throw in one other horse, long shot, who can rally, and that'll be Max Player in the exactas. I'm even going to throw in another long shot rallier, Live Your Beast Life, in my trifectas. But I need Authentic or Mr. Big News to win. If they run second, that's fine as well. Or third. Exactas, trifectas. I have other options for second, the 3 horses I just mentioned, and then the 4 horses I mentioned in the trifectas. I think I'm going to cash everything. I just hope it's not with Authentic. I hope it's with Mr. Big News.
I know, but I mean, I'm not being, I'm not inventing the wheel. I'm talking about the Kentucky Derby winner who went away from Tis the Law, who was touted to be the best horse this year. So, I mean, listen, a plus 180, I cannot believe it. I still believe that we're going to be close to even money. I think you believe that as well. Now, we love the romance of grade 1 races, especially when they come to being in the Triple Crown. Where do you see a really story to grip the hearts of the American public?
Well, Bob Baffert Bob Baffert, I think, has a love-hate relationship with the American public. A lot of people love Baffert. He's that silver-haired devil that's won so many big races, and especially our Triple Crown races with these 3-year-olds. But on the other hand, a lot of people in American racing, they're not such a big fan of Mr. Baffert, and maybe he's won too much. So I think Bob Baffert winning his 8th Preakness, that's incredible. For him to win this race 8 times is a story in itself. And Authentic and Tiz the Law, we're still talking about the 3-year-old championship being pretty darn wide open, because Tiz the Law was a clear leader going into the Kentucky Derby, and Tiz the Law didn't embarrass himself, but his one head-to-head race with Authentic, Authentic beat him. Authentic has a really good record as well. So Authentic might have a nose lead over Tiz the Law in that 3-year-old race. I think if he wins the Preakness, though, that's going to force Tiz the Law to come back and win the Breeders' Cup Classic, which probably would include Authentic and the good older horses. We have a lot of good older horses here in America, too. So we'll see the best from the Preakness, plus Tiz the Law, and plus some of these great older horses we have in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I think that really rolls over into a nice story. And maybe it's for the 3-year-old championship with Tiz the Law, Authentic. I don't think Mr. Big News is going to be up for a championship, but I do think he can win on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's the reason we're not seeing Tiz the Law. I think that Tiz the Law's main aim now is going to be the Breeders' Cup. Now, also, I like Bob Baffert to being like the New England Patriots. No one likes him, apart from obviously those that are connected with him because of that exact reason. He finds a way to win, and his owners, they love him. And it's a great story. And 8th Preakness is getting himself ready through Authentic. We're going to go with 9. We're going to wrap it up. So we're going to go with Authentic, and you're going to go with Mr. Big News, but you might go with Authentic and Mr. Big News. I'm going to go with 1,000 Words. And you like Max Player, a massive price to run on late.
I do. I only do if I'm right about the pace scenario. If the pace scenario comes out how I like it, Flash, I think both Mr. Big News and Max Player run good races, and maybe they can both get in the trifecta. I don't even care if Authentic's first at that point, because I got 2 long shots in the trifecta, but I need some horses to pick up the speed in the stretch. And I see this as a race that could happen. It could happen your way too.
I probably will.
But that's only going to happen if those other jockeys are a little bit sheepish and say, "Oh, let's not take the race to Authentic. Let's have his Authentic have it his own way, and we'll run for second best." But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I certainly think that you could put. I'm going to put a line through Art Collector, and I'm going to put a line through Swiss Skydiver. So there is plenty value when they're sitting there at 2nd and 3rd in. So I mean, if you want to follow me, you put a line through them, or you can follow Brian, because I think there's pace in the race. I think that they stay at the front and they kick on, but if they go too fast, then Brian's outsiders, they'll be coming home strong, and they're all going to be at the bigger prices. Brian, I look forward to speaking to you soon, especially on Breeders' Cup.
Absolutely, Flash.
Authentic wins the Preakness. I just hope that yours comes second.
There you go. Always good to be here with you, Flash. And the Breeders' Cup is a month away, so we got a lot to look forward to.
Oh, yeah, and that's when the European Raiders will be coming over as well to take the gravy. But I do like the older horses against Authentic and Tiz the Law, if Authentic goes there, because I'm wondering if it's just going to be one step too far. But listen, let's have a great day tomorrow at Pimlico in Baltimore. Let's hope the weather's fine and everyone enjoys the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown of this mad 2020. Thanks, Brian. See you soon.